Top 10 things you need to do to prepare for the coronavirus. Be careful in public places. Self-isolation is the best way to protect yourself. Subscribe to the channel, like and write a comment. Let's bring this video to light. The more people watch it, the better. Help develop the channel and save humanity. Everyone enjoy watching. Be healthy. With the episode of the Wuhan coronavirus, individuals everywhere throughout the world are beginning to pay heed and think the most noticeably terrible. All things considered, mainstream society is filled to the overflow with prophetically catastrophic situations, including the apocalypse on account of a viral flare-up. At the present time, there's little possibility of individuals biting the dust altogether, and there's no danger of a zombie flare-up right now, yet that doesn't mean the circumstance isn't not kidding and that it couldn't take a turn for the worst. Preparing yourself for a flare-up that could clear out a huge number of individuals should be possible, and you don't have to begin diving a safe house in your lawn to do it. Survival is tied in with being readied. What you do today could spare your life tomorrow. With that in mind, here are the main 10 fundamental tips to plan for the coronavirus flare-up. Stockpile food and water. The normal individual consumes among 1.5 calories per day, however without nourishment, the body starts to break down. Dying from hunger is horrible, and it can take upwards of 70 days. In any case, without fluids, drying out will prompt passing in only 3 or 4. Be sure to reserve a few months of canned and gut-dried out nourishment per individual. Military proportions pack a huge amount of calories and have a time span of usability of as long as 5 years, so get a few on the off chance that you can. You'll require enough water for at any rate 14 days, yet ideally 4. A large portion of 8 gallons daily for one individual is about right. If you come up short on the crisp stuff, you can sterilize water from a flawed source by bubbling it or including a bit of iodine or bleach. There's likewise an extraordinary development called the life straw, which you can use to drink water legitimately from a tainted source. The straw channels water as it goes through. I prescribe getting a few and keeping them available. Buy essential tools. In the event that the plague you're endeavoring to endure is more terrible than the Black Death, there's a decent possibility society will take a short time to refocus subsequent to everything fades away. All things considered, if history's shown us anything, it's that anybody can capitulate to sickness, including rulers, presidents, tyrants, and the person who rings you up at the supermarket. If a major part of the populace vanishes rapidly, you will need to fight for yourself, and that implies you're going to require some tools. Imagine searching for nourishment, however all you find are bolted and void houses. In the event that you have a crowbar, you don't have anything to stress over. What's more, there's nothing amiss with breaking into a deserted home while attempting to endure an apocalypse. You'll likewise need to have a standard arrangement of instruments in a toolkit. In particular, it ought to incorporate a sledge, screwdriver set, a wrench, and a multi-tool. Get yourself some weapons. Survivalists are notable for amassing weapons and ammunition, and not only for chasing. On the off chance that the most noticeably awful occurs, and enough amazing, will disintegrate and collapse. After that occurs, life will look a great deal like a dystopian film, and you're going to need to fight for yourself. When zombies begin strolling about, they'll slaughter you and your entire family for a healthy supper and a sheltered spot to remain. Your best resistance is a decent offense, and that implies you require weapons. Shotguns are extraordinary at chasing winged animals, but at the same time they're perfect for lacking elbow room battle. A rifle is required for chasing greater creatures, so get one with a decent extension. Lastly, guns, they're little, simple to utilize, and have incredible halting force. I'd likewise recommend you get a book on chasing and cleaning animals. If you don't approach weapons because of neighborhood laws, a blade or crossbow is additionally incredible at chasing and safeguarding yourself. At any rate, get a decent chasing blade and trust in the best. Stock up on disinfectant. Plague specialists wore weird veils with snouts loaded up with herbs intended to sanitize the air as they relaxed. This was on the grounds that they thought illness was spread through terrible stenches. The thought has been disproven, yet it gives us a genuine case of how to get ready yourself when a contamination is airborne or spread through touch. Standard customer items that murder most fatal pathogens are modest and effectively found. Load up on Blanche, which can purify anything, and as I referenced before, it can make water safe to drink. Hand cleanser is acceptable after all other options have been exhausted, yet not when there's a dreadful bug noticeable all around. Get some hand sanitizer and use it at whatever point you contact basic items or interact with others. On the off chance that you don't have any of that, liquor will execute most germs, yet it ought to be utilized as a last resort. If you choose to purchase an advanced cover, careful ones won't help against the coronavirus. You'll be needing a Siren grade full face veil. These are substance, natural, radiological, and atomic safeguard appraised. Create a safe room and house. You're going to need to protect your home, and that implies you'll need to go to the trusty thing that has helped keep the US military running easily for quite a long time: conduit tape. It's anything but difficult to tear, sticks to everything, and will assist you with making sure about your home and keep the infection out. And keeping in mind that you're purchasing the tape, snatch a lot of plastic drop cloths. If you figure shutting the front entryway and closing all the windows will keep the infection under control, ask yourself, when was the last time a creepy crawly got in? On the off chance that arachnids and ants can discover their way into your home, so can an airborne disease. Use the drop materials to cover each window and entryway, fixing them with conduit tape as you go. On the off chance that you have a chimney, close the pipe and seal it up as well. The exact opposite thing you have to do is build up an isolate room someplace in your home. This is the place you would put somebody who is giving indications of disease to segregate them from the remainder of the gathering. Prep your immune system. The main barrier our bodies have against a conceivably dangerous disease is its safe framework. The most ideal approach to keep yourself fit as a fiddle is to take everything from lysine and vitamin C to practicing regularly. You're going to need to store some medication, so get together as much as could be expected under the circumstances. Score a few antimicrobials, and guarantee that any individual who needs insulin or an EpiPen has a prepared supply. If you have a solution, don't hold up until the last moment to fill it. Have in any event a month's inventory close by, or you could encounter risky withdrawal side effects, particularly where antidepressants are concerned. Going without any weaning period on doctor-prescribed medications can destroy you quicker than the plague, so consistently ensure you have ample. Additionally, you ought to have cold medication, multivitamins, antitoxin bombs, and a very much loaded emergency treatment pack. All things considered, you would prefer not to endure the plague of the century and wind up kicking the bucket from a contamination after you get a cut on your hand. Create a bugout bag. Probably the most punctual thing an administration will do when there's an episode is to isolate the tainted zones. This has occurred in Wuhan, and inside a moderately brief time frame, in excess of 10 million individuals have been compelled to remain put. But while this was going on, outsiders who weren't tainted were emptied. On the off chance that something very similar happens where you will be, you may end up compelled to escape with almost no notification. In these circumstances, it's in every case great to have a bugout sack ready. The all-around supplied pack needs all the things I've discussed on this rundown. In any case, only enough for a 72-hour period. You ought to likewise include a crisis radio, electric lamp, save batteries, waterproof matches, and a rock and steel. Remember garments and female cleanliness items also. While you can purchase bugout packs from different spots on the web, most survivalists would concur, you should stock your own dependent on your own needs and well-being requirements. You'll additionally need to keep a duplicate of your city's catastrophe plan in it, which can show safe approaches to go in a crisis. Prepare for a barter economy. On the off chance that the flare-up clears out an enormous segment of the neighborhood populace, the survivors will be left to get the pieces. The entirety of that valuable money you escaped the bank may not be a lot of good in the aftermath. You're going to need to take advantage of history and get familiar with the advantages of a trade economy. Everything in a post-pandemic circumstance will depend on exchange. No one is going to surrender their penicillin for a bar of gold or a wad of cash. Before Hitler and his National Communist gathering came to control in Germany, the country was managed by the Weimar Republic. The economy was a ruins, and the money at the time was fundamentally useless. Individuals went to an underground trading framework and it functioned admirably enough to prop things up. The equivalent is genuine right now in present-day Venezuela. The most ideal way you can get ready for this is to load up on a great deal of a normally required things. This could be clean treatment, face veils, different kinds of medication, or whatever else individuals should endure a plague of amazing magnitude. What's more, remember, essentials, for example, tissue will be popular. Get hold of some boredom busters. When an episode happens and spreads to your region, you may end up isolated for quite a while. In the event that the force has gone out, you can disregard viewing The Mandalorian or playing Fortnite. But that doesn't mean you need to leave weariness alone your destruction. Regardless of whether the force has gone out, there's still a great deal you can do to remain normal when the social influencer in your gathering understands that Instagram's gone and he needs some attention. Make sure you have loads of books to peruse. Get an assortment of engaging titles, however you ought to likewise keep some survivalist manuals available also. No one can really tell when they may spare your life. Puzzle books and old educational committee games are additionally an amazing method to sit back. Weariness may not murder you legitimately, yet it can make your life hopeless, so prepare. Prepare for the worst. Get a scoop and burrow a gap around 6 feet down. Cautiously store the body and sprinkle a couple of cups of lye over it, and cover it with soil. Inside a moderately brief time frame, it will decimate everything except the bones and teeth. I'd prefer to call attention to that while this rundown is somewhat for amusement, it highlights an undeniable threat today. Kindly look into your city's calamity plan and ensure you are as readied as you can be. Pandemics and infections don't normally give preemptive guidance. Things are heightening and this might be your solitary opportunity to act. Good karma. We may all need it. It's conceivable that somebody in your gathering will bite the dust. At the point when that occurs, their body will start to decay very quickly. It will discharge put-away gases and fertilizer, and it can in any case spread disease. Ebola is particularly awful where contamination from bodies is concerned, on account of the monstrous measure of blood included. Be that as it may, a carcass can be hazardous regardless of whether demise was caused normally. It is fundamental that you don't contact the body without gloves and a mask. Disposing of a cadaver is no simple errand, and in the event that you've viewed our video on inconceivable scents, you'll realize that the smell of consuming people isn't something you need to understanding. Rather than incineration, make like a Mexican medication cartel and break down the remains. Your best wager is to cover the body and spread it with lye. Be careful in public places. Self-isolation is the best way to protect yourself. Subscribe to the channel, like and write a comment. Let's bring this video to light. The more people watch it, the better. Help develop the channel and save humanity. Thank you all for watching. Be healthy.